Within the series of Blue Lock, the mental experience of challenge-centered focus, also known as flow, can be achieved by finding a goal that resides between the confines of anxiety and excitement. We see this mental state be achieved by a number of characters in Blue Lock, starting as far back as the game of tag and continuing into the latest points of the series. However, there is a stage further beyond this trance that is only accessible to a select few, that which is known as a player's true state of flow, or put more simply, their true flow state. In this series, as of now, there are 3 confirmed true flow state users, and in this video, I'll be explaining what this unique evolved trance is and how it affects each player's styles. Before I get into that though, I want to leave a spoiler warning for the latest events and chapters of the Blue Lock manga, and if you are not caught up, I would suggest you click off this video now if you wish to not be spoiled. Now, before I can even address what a true flow state is, I should first start by talking about what a traditional flow state is. Flow is a state of mind that is achievable by anyone in any event, so long as they meet the specific conditions in order to trigger it. Like I mentioned before, in order to achieve this level of concentration, a player must identify a goal that exists between the confines of their anxiety and their boredom. Ego describes it as aiming to achieve a goal that exceeds your current abilities as an individual, but not so much that the goal is impossible to reach. Now, without this explanation or even the most basic understanding of flow, characters have been able to enter this mental trance, even going back to the very first episode of the anime. Now, many will recognize this unique eye design as the flow eyes, a moniker given to this special eye design as an indication that a player has entered this trance-like state. However, this wasn't always the design used to determine this, and is only the most recent one for the majority of players. The original flow eye is something that we like to call the egoist eyes, these spiral-like eyes that typically appear towards the beginning of the series. This statement doesn't imply that this eye design does not appear later in the series, as we do see it with Isagi after Kaiser's Magnus goal. What it does mean, however, is that the design we see in their eyes determines how intensely the player is focused on their current play at the level that they are now in their career. In the beginning, we began to see players awaken the egoist eyes, and very soon after, we began to see the sclera, or the white part of the eye, turn black. This was seen with Bachira in the second selection, and Isagi in the third selection. We then eventually began to get a mix of the current flow state eyes and the black sclera, showing a transition of the player's development from the second to third stage of flow. This was shown more in the U20 game with Burū and Isagi. And now in the NEL, we are beginning to see strictly more of the standard flow eye design, as that's where the majority of players are in their current development. However, there are a few players who have been able to reach a certain level of understanding in relation to flow, but also their own ego enough to force their way into a higher evolution of the state of mind. This is what we call the true flow state. You can really think of it like a mega evolution in Pokemon. Some Pokemon can do it, and others just can't. But who exactly can enter this state of mind, and how does it affect their playstyle? Before getting into that though, if you are enjoying this video so far, leave me a like and subscribe down below to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this. I also have a Discord server called the Neo Egoist Geeks, which you should totally join. The link to that is down below. Now, when talking about true flow states, there is one common denominator, that being natural impulses. When addressing the 3 players who have been able to enter their true flow state consistently, they have been able to do this by discarding all external factors and listening to their true ego. And this isn't something that can be done so easily, as the 3 current new generation 11 players have yet to enter their true state of flow. By this description and the performance of players, it's fair to say that true flow states would be more common among self-type egoists as opposed to world-type egoists. However, in reference to true flow states, it doesn't appear to be influenced by factors of freedom or restriction. Given this, let's address our first true flow state user, that being Meguro Bachira, whose true flow state is called Monster Trance. Bachira was actually the first character to ever enter a true flow state, first doing so in chapter 141 of the manga during the U20 game. He was able to enter this state of mind by fusing his monster's elastic dribbles and his egotistical dribbling style into one form, embodying the mindset of the monster. Now, the monster is this imaginary manifestation of Bachira's ego and loneliness fused together, which directs his plays and actions during a game. This was seen during the first selection as Bachira's monster directed his dribbling and passing, those skills being 2 of the key attacking weapons that allowed for Team Z to defeat Team V. However, during the second selection, Bachira learned that his monster was slowly becoming a shackle on his heart and mind, which kept him from evolving and moving forward as a player. He then chose to discard the monster's advice and ignore its assistance, allowing for Bachira to awaken a new style of dribbling, which is dependent on his own decisions and choices. This is what allowed for him to nearly defeat Team White in a 1v4, as well as break past Cavazos in the World 5 match, a feat that no other character has been able to display. And during the U20 game, Bachira was able to awaken a new style of dribbling that not even Aiku or the rest of the Iron Wall Quartet was able to stop. But what exactly is it? I mean, just awakening a technique that allows for you to be one of the only 2 people to single-handedly shred through the defense of a national representative team seems a little bit strange and broken, right? Well, not entirely when you think about it. Bachira's Monster Trance allows for him to combine both the intuition of his heart and instincts with that of the monsters. With his original elastic dribbling, the monster used to make the decisions for Bachira on what to do. and with his egotistical elastic dribbling, Bachira decided to make those decisions for himself. However, in his true flow state, the monster and Bachira's decisions are exactly the same, and actions are simply performed without any consideration for thought. As soon as an idea pops into his head, Bachira just does it. This is because true flow states grant a user a unique ability, the instantaneous reflexive action of an individual. Bachira's flow state was so effective and quick that not even Metavision could predict the intention behind his dribbles, as seen with Aiku. And within the NEL, Bachira is able to utilize his flow state incredibly easily, fusing the trance with Livenhill's dribbling tricks, allowing for his skills to skyrocket in terms of deadliness. Now, following Bachira, who, like the dribbler, just got his flow state adapted in the anime, we have Rin Itoshi, whose true flow state is known as Destroyer Mode. Now, when looking at Destroyer Mode and how Rin can access this state, it's very consistent with the other trances. By discarding outside stimuli, a player is able to embody their true desires and egos, that way they can play in a way that feels perfect for them. For Rin, by discarding his emotions and feelings of admiration towards Sai, he is able to enter his true flow state, changing his puppet master manipulator style into a more aggressive and physical one based on the extortion of his opponent's weapons. While Rin can enter this state at will, the main factor in order to do this is actually pressure. This pressure being created by a player of equal skill. This was the ticker for him entering it in the U20 game, as well as in the match against Bastard München. Destroyer Mode, as it's called, not only changes Rin's style, but also his ego manifestation. Within the series, as each player develops their ego, they awaken a manifestation specific to their ego. Rin's ego traditionally manifests in the form of water, however, when entering his true flow state, his aura adjusts to this destructive-like sludge. This is another factor or indicator of a player entering their true flow state. Actually, one of two. It usually appears as either a total swap of one manifestation to another, or a slight visual adjustment to how the aura traditionally appears. Bachira's ego manifestation being the monster used to exist within his vision, seeing it appear in locations around the pitch, especially marking where or who he should pass to. However, in his flow state, the monster begins to cloak over his body, covering parts of his face, legs, and torso. As for Rin, like I just mentioned, his aura switches from this water and liquid-like material into this destructive sludge-like substance. Another indicator for Rin, however, is actually his vortex eyes. Now, we don't exactly know what or if this eye grants Rin a unique ability. However, we can theorize that it's very similar to Predator Eye. Both eyes allow for the user to hyperfixate on one specific thing during the game, granting the user a heightened analysis of their target. As for what Rin's flow state does at its core, it allows for him to draw out the strength of his opponent, allowing for him to crush them in either a battle of physical abilities or technical prowess, both being areas that Rin is highly skilled in. We see this allow for him to break through the U20 defense, bringing out and shutting down their greatest abilities with very little difficulty. Even Aiku, who was in flow and using Metavision, had a 0% chance against Rin in that state of mind. Only when Shido appeared did the chances even out for Aiku, bringing it back to a 50-50 gamble of skill. This even worked against the best player on the pitch at the time in Sai, leading Rin to baiting out the cross Elastico Nutmeg just to shut it down. It's a trance purely centered around irrationality and destruction, something that not even the highest skilled Metavision users like Isagi or Kaiser are able to predict and stop. And speaking of Isagi, the last character to enter a true state of flow is actually Yoichi Isagi, whose true flow state is called omnivision. Omnivision is Yoichi Isagi's true state of flow that allows for him to read and predict unpredictable plays that even his Metavision can't comprehend. This was used to combat Rin's irrational flow state, which he entered by discarding all of his fixations and relationships with the sole purpose of obtaining victory. Despite this trance not granting Isagi with any more advanced technical abilities or physical enhancements, it drastically increases his positioning and analysis of the pitch and its players. By using this ability, it enables him to position himself in spaces that manipulate his opponents to move in a certain way, making it easier for other players to come in and stop them. This was seen in Rin, as Isagi had forced him to move into a direction that Kaiser could read with his Metavision and be able to stop. And despite not possessing Omnivision, thanks to their teamwork, Kaiser can share Isagi's vision by following his movements, which led them to shutting down Rin on numerous occasions. In terms of visual alteration, Isagi's puzzle pieces began to expand from his eyes in a circular pattern, similar to Metavision. However, it expands outwards instead of inwards. His hair also begins to turn white, and his uniform, aside from the accents of the kit, begin to glow white as well. This was done in a similar way to Bachira's monster trance, where the puzzle pieces have created a slight alteration to Isagi rather than manifesting into an entirely new aura. That was just my explanation of true flow states in Blue Lock, as well as how this trance affects a player and the unique styles. But aside from that, I hope you guys did enjoy this video and will continue to enjoy it in the future. This was my first video that I released in 2025, and like this video, there's going to be a lot more bangers in the future, so stay tuned for that. Also, thank you guys so much for the love and support on the Blue Lock New World trailer. It means a lot that you guys are hyped for it, so I'm going to be doing a breakdown of the trailer and providing you guys with some more information regarding the film, and that will probably come out in about a week or so, so stay tuned for that. As for the question of the video, which player do you believe will awaken their true flow state next? Leave me your thoughts down below in the comment section. And like always, thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this, and welcome to Blue Lock 2025.